Hi, my name is Michelle Alsop, and this is my class presentation for my research project. My research project was on antibiotics, more specifically antibiotic resistance. So, antibiotics were firstly discovered by Alexander Fleming in the early 1900s. He discovered penicillin on accident, and it really just paved the way for so many other antibiotic discoveries. Antibiotics, they have both positive and negative consequences or effects. Positive effects include obvious health benefits because it can help cure infections and diseases, and it's just very useful in the health field, but also very dangerous, and I'll get to that later. In animals, it is used to promote growth, and obviously for health too if you have like a pet that's sick. So what I really want to talk about is antibiotic resistance. Antibiotic resistance is the cause of many factors that really was because antibiotics got exposed to many bacteria. Some bacteria were killed, some weren't. The ones that didn't get killed were resistant to the antibiotic because it developed a enzyme called beta-lactamase. Beta-lactamase kills, no, it doesn't kill. Beta-lactamase, it breaks down the beta-lactam ring in antibiotics that inhibits the bacteria to overtake and do its thing. So when an antibiotic doesn't work and the bacteria becomes resistant, it is then coined the term a superbug or a superbacteria, and it's because there isn't really any antibiotic that could kill it. There are many factors that lead to this gene resistance, and those include lack of patient compliance, self-medication, over-the-counter availability, and proper antibiotic prescription from the healthcare professionals. Cross-resistance because of shared antibiotics from humans and animals, and worldwide travel. Lack of patient compliance is really like the patient will take the entire drug therapy, and really the drug therapy is prescribed to you because you need it, because there's no other way to definitely cure this infection or illness, and you just don't do it because it just takes too much time, too much money, etc., etc. Self-medication, it's one where there's leftover antibiotics from a family member, from you, from a previous infection, and you take the antibiotic because you don't want to go get a prescription for yourself, and it really doesn't work because the antibiotics are toned to you. They are made for you from the health professional, and it's based off your height, age, your weight, so on and so forth, and it really won't work if it's at a too low of a dose or it isn't even the right antibiotic prescription. So over-the-counter availability is something where you can buy drugs at a drugstore or on the internet because you don't want to go to the doctor and you don't want to get a prescription because they both cost money. That's understandable, but it does cause so many problems because, like as I said before, antibiotics and other drugs, they are tailored to you. It's based off of so many factors, and if you take an antibiotic that may not be the right one or the right strength, it could really cause harm to you. Healthcare professionals can make mistakes. They're human. They can give you the improper antibiotic prescription. They can also give you the improper diagnosis. It's a mistake. It's something that happens, but it's also very dangerous, and you could get the incorrect antibiotic prescription and it could just be a mess. It's mainly because you were overlooked, I guess, but it's just a problem. Another factor is worldwide travel. Worldwide travel is dangerous if there is an infection lurking in an individual, because infections take time to develop and for bacteria to replicate and do its thing. So there could be nothing wrong with the individual to them, but on the inside they're not doing well. And just like the disease or infection could be spread because of coughing, airborne illnesses happen all the time, or just like touching. So another factor, the last factor really, is the sharing of antibiotics between animals and humans. So there's a really long history of the sharing of antibiotics. Really, it includes like healthcare organizations saying, okay, you can use this. We also use it in humans to treat certain diseases, but you can use this in, say, poultry or something like fluoroquinolones. Resistance in the bacteria were prominent in the poultry, and then after it was consumed, it was prominent in the human or whoever was eating it. So there was this fear of adding antibiotics to animal feed posing serious risks to humans and health, because it really just like, if you're given a chicken that's had an antibiotic and it didn't do what it was supposed to do because there was resistance, then you get that bacteria too, and it's in your system, and who knows what it could do. There's also concern that there are health costs to where it can cause a lot of death, and the mortality rates are high because bacteria is in your system because of these livestock. So there's really just like that big concern of healthcare professionals and citizens and so on, because you're consuming it. So the environment is infected through like passing of waste. So when a human or an animal produces waste and expels it into the environment, the antibiotic can still be in the feces, or the bacteria could be in it too. So it can get passed into the environment and spread throughout the soil, throughout the water, and it could just cause other bacteria to be exposed to the antibiotics that could still be in it. Besides this, to limit everything that I just talked about, to limit the factors, to limit consequences and antibiotic resistance, there should be laws and regulations to make sure that antibiotics are used properly. Health organizations like the FDA, CDC, or the WHO should regulate and create these laws and enforce them. The main problem before is that when the FDA proposed anything relating to antibiotics in livestock, Congress passed it up. They didn't want to deal with it because livestock need to be healthy and need to provide food for people. So they were they cared more for the reason that it was food production and not that it was killing people. Other countries like Finland, Denmark, and Sweden, they all got rid of the use of antibiotics in growth promotion, and they're doing fine, and the WHO has advised against it too. So if these organizations are advising and nothing is happening, I feel as though there needs to be acts and regulations created in order to really get the ball rolling and get it started. However, in early 2017, so last year, the FDA created rules banning human antibiotics for growth promotion in animals, and required ranchers to get a prescription instead of buying it over the counter. So another way to limit these is for healthcare professionals to be way more stringent and clear and get rid of the cloud of confusion to the patients, because patients really don't know anything about antibiotics. And so this can be useful because then they will get rid of that lack of patient compliance and stop self-medicating and so on. And this could really help gene resistance to slow down. And so because this can't really happen without enforcement, it should be enforced, and if it's not followed, consequences are given from the health organizations overlooking everything. So I chose this topic because in high school I was an IB. I took IB chemistry, and our option topic was medicinal. And I am in pre-pharmacy currently at Auburn, and it's just very interesting because we watched this video about a documentary about antibiotics and resistance, and it was very eye-opening and very scary, and I just wanted to know more, and this really helped me get a good knowledge about it. The sources that I would recommend to look at is one from John McKenna. It's called Antibiotics, Are They Curing Us or Killing Us? It really talked about my entire topic, really, it went into detail. It was not that hard to read. It was just really nice and put it out there. Another one is by Michael Lawson. It's called The Antibiotics Resistance Problem Revisited, and it was really nice because at the beginning it has an example of antibiotic resistance, and it was just from MRSA and staph and so many other things. It was just really helpful, and it also listed the factors. So the problems that I faced were really that there's a lot of source material for antibiotics, and it was just a lot to choose from, and I really didn't know in which direction to go, whether to stay focusing on humans or animals or just doing it all, but I overall decided to do it all because it affects everything. It was reading a lot of things because there were so many medical terms, and I'm only a sophomore in college now, so it was really difficult for me to understand. But I really just picked out certain things, and it really helped for my essay because I think I integrated the quotes enough to make it understand. So, thank you for listening. I hope you have a good day.